Mark, your opinion of the Browns sending Kenny Pickett out, and at the end of the day, after this long discussion of what the quarterback room is going to look like through free agency and then the draft, it's Flacco and 2 rookies. What do you think?
Well, it's like this message we were given for weeks and months that they were going to keep 4 quarterbacks. Pickett always felt like the odd man out, because I get that Flacco and Stefanski obviously can work together to start the season, and their schedule is absolutely a nightmare. So I get you go in with Flacco. He's 40, so that's not the long-term plan, and then you don't ditch one of the 2 rookies. You're going to want to try to see them both. I think Cleveland is sort of overall trying to get so much younger. The Pickett trade gave them a fifth, and they have 10 picks in the next draft, 2 number 1s. Anything's on the table for how they'll look. But this year, outside of, I think, the defense being a little feisty, I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think. They're ranked by most as like the worst team in the league. I think they'll coach their way out of some of that. But from another angle, it's like the 18th, 19th, 20th year in a row where if this were a relationship and you had a therapist, the therapist would say, get out of this and start to pay attention to your own needs and wants. So that lingers as well, along with whatever excuse I can make for them.
Okay. While we're on the subject of fandom and therapy,
yeah, right.
How do you view the Jets season?
I think the Jets season can be a successful one without having a winning record. It's nice to be back our head underneath the clouds and not thinking, oh, maybe we go to the Super Bowl. If Aaron Glenn can instill a program, if it could feel like the season ends where we're building something, and maybe the quarterback sticks, and maybe it's a Band-Aid until they can use a high draft pick next year, which is probably more where I see it. But I want to see, I just want to see basic competence. I want the coach to have control of his sidelines. I want accountability. I want less penalties. I want Garrett Wilson and Sauce to play at the height of their powers, and I want the owner to stay out of it and let this team develop from the ground up, because Aaron Glenn came from a place that started out as bad as it can get, and by the time Campbell and him were done together, they were a Super Bowl power. The owner, Woody Johnson, needs to understand that's the only way this is going to work. You got to let this thing simmer, and I do think Glenn is the right guy. I love that he's a Parcells guy. I'm a big Parcells guy. I love that he's a former Jet. I love that he's a former first-round pick that played a long time in the league. The players respect that stuff, and everything, the way he's handled and comported himself since he's been hired, makes me think they might have the right guy. Now, I thought Robert Saleh was the right guy, okay? Like, we've thought 100 guys were the right guy, but all you can do as a Jets fan is just hope that maybe this is finally, they made a move that gets them going in the right direction.
Well, Saleh might have been the right guy, but Zach Wilson wasn't, right? And then Rodgers was the move, I thought a wise one, that blew up.
Yeah.
Because of, we don't need to go down that road. I like the move that the Jets made. I mean, in terms of their options at quarterback, what to do. $20 million a year on a flyer on somebody with a massive upside potentially, and bringing him in and saying, it's your team, Justin, and we're going to hook you up with your old college teammate, who, by the way, we're going to re-sign. They re-signed the 2 right guys. They signed their rookies of the year, and they've made the right moves. We will see if they cash. Which rookie would you want, Mark, to see being 2 on the depth chart in Cleveland?
Well, Dylan Gabriel had the much better preseason, so he's earned it. So if you flip that around...
You think so, huh?
I mean, I think
if you take a look at both. I mean, Shador had a much better first game than Gabriel had his first game.
Yeah.
And then the second game, you know, a bunch of the guys whose names are going to get cut, Shador played behind, although he did not have a better game.
I think that it's a lightning rod scenario if Shador's in there. I'm very curious to see him. I don't care what anyone says. But Gabriel was drafted higher. He received much more of the training camp snaps. They treated him like a higher ranking quarterback than Shador. So it's like, then if you flip that, who's in charge of that decision?
Marc Sessler and Dan Hanzus here on the Rich Eisen Show to wrap up hour number 1. Everyone check out Heed the Call on Audacy and more. We're still here on Roku. Continue on if you want. If you got
I've always wondered, like, not to go on to about it too much, but Kevin Stefanski inherited Baker Mayfield. They moved on from him, right? And then the Deshaun Watson thing happens where it's like, did Stefanski really want Deshaun Watson? I don't see very clear evidence of that, and he doesn't fit within the Stefanski offense.
Why does Stefanski have? Why is there a narrative that Stefanski's a hostage? Almost all the time when it comes to his quarterbacks.
Because I think why? Because the Deshaun Watson felt like it came from high up.
And the same thing with Shador Sanders.
Shador.
I mean,
And
Flacco's
it
only
works for Stefanski.
Right.
Flacco is
Takes
his
him off
own-
the hook.
Like, you don't- but you don't
hold on a
always-
second.
you-
Name me the quarterback Stefanski wanted in Cleveland that he's actually coached. Is it Flacco? And that's the end of the list?
Well, that's the only one that truly felt like a good story. I don't know if it's the end of the list, but I would say this. Do we say this about Sean McVay and the quarterback he gets? Like,
No.
we feel like he goes and gets the quarterback he wants. Same with certain types of coaches. O'Connell.
Yeah.
In Cleveland, it feels like there's a committee, and they've called it a committee. And committee is problematic when you keep coming up with the worst possible decision.
And Jets fans, Browns fans, dysfunction starts from the top down. We just want the top to not keep us down.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.